Okay, good evening, everybody. It's Sunday, February 17, 2019. My name is Danny Venner. We're getting ready to do our Isshinryu Today podcast, and we just wanted to put this up on YouTube and let you see how we produce our show. Now, I just moved, so I'm in a place where it's a little messy, but we're getting there. We will straighten it up and make our studio nice and ready. We're listening to a little Aretha Franklin, Chain of Fools, live on the radio right now.
11 minutes until showtime.
All right. So tonight we'll be talking about Tai Sabaki drills. It's all about body positioning in Sensei McGrath's dojo. His, how do I say it? The platform of his teaching was not to get hit. So he trained us in a way that when we're attacked, these drills, these Tai Sabaki drills, what you do with your body in that split second when you're being attacked is very, very important. So we're going to be talking about that tonight, and you'll be able to see, sort of how the show goes on. So if you want to be a featured guest on the program, it's just like making a phone call. And excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, so everybody in the house has been sick. We've been a little run down because we've been working very hard to get the move finished. And because we have young children here, we have to build an environment for them that's very safe and user-friendly, if you will. So stay tuned, folks. I got to do a little work on the show. You'll be able to see the audio portion or listen to the audio portion once we go live. And this little extra tidbit of information, being able to capture the video on YouTube and then put it up, serves a purpose because not only can you listen to it on Blog Talk Radio, but you can also check out my YouTube channel and take a look at the katas that we have posted and some of the couple of katas that we have posted, and learn about what we're doing here at McGrath's School of Isshinryu. So it's a great thrill to be with you tonight. All right, so this is what we're going to do now. The way this is laid out, we'll work on, the shout outs at the top of the program after the opening song plays, and then we'll, go down the list. So, let's get up. J. Tough when you're sick, folks. You still got to work, Show's got to go on. I don't think Sensei Kyle's going to make it tonight, so it'll be just me. 8 minutes until showtime. And let's pull up the types of fucking drills.
Seven minutes until showtime. minutes until showtime.
Buddy Holly, man. Buddy Holly. We lost him 60 years ago. The Big Baba, J.P. Richardson, and Richie Valens, and the pilot. There was 4 people that night. We were right there in 1959. I was to come along 2 months later. After Buddy Holly, the Big Baba, and Richie Valens perished in that airplane crash. All they wanted to do was get to the next venue, get their laundry done, take a shower, have a bite to eat, go to sleep. All they wanted to do. And
5 minutes until showtime.
It didn't work out that way. You know? That's why tonight's subject matter, Tai Sabaki, is very important. It's a very important, integral part of martial arts practice, body management. And we'll see. We'll see how the show goes tonight, you know? Where are we? We got 4 minutes left. Okay, we'll go live in 4 minutes. Alrighty. Let's make sure we got this ready.
Minutes until showtime.
Okay.
3 minutes until showtime.
3 minutes. Classical Gas by Tommy Emmanuel. Great guitar player. I think he's Australian.
Until showtime.
All right. We got 1 minute and 30 seconds left, folks. We go live on Isshinryu today. Call into the program 619-924-9759. That's the number to get me right here. Right here, right on the spot. 1 minute. Then we have our opening song. We do our shout outs and we'll get right to the subject matter. Again, February 17, 2019. It's almost 6 o'clock, 5:59. So we go live at 6.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Log Talk Radio.
All right, folks, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Isshinryu today. Call into the program, folks, 619-924-9759. Today is February 17, 2019. It's 6 o'clock. Time for Isshinryu today. Again, let me give you that call-in number, 619-924-9759. Good evening, listeners, and welcome to our program, Isshinryu today. This program is dedicated to the life and teachings of our founder, Shimobuku Tatsuo Sensei, and all first-generation students, their grand black belts, and all practitioners, past, present, and future. Tonight's subject matter will be Tai Sabaki. Oh, we got a good program lined up for you tonight. This is something that is very prevalent in martial arts practice. So stay tuned. We got a great lineup for you tonight. But at the top of every program, we like to give a shout out to the working martial artists, people that are out there teaching, putting their time, their effort, everything that they have into martial arts. And we call them working martial artists, people that run dojos, people that do martial arts professionally for a living, people that are out in their communities working with the youngsters, the young adults, the adults, and even the elderly. So this practice of being a martial arts instructor, this discipline, teaches us some very what I like to call wholesome values in life, and that is, taking care of one another. Well, tonight, I want you to check out this website, www.hamptonsjujitsu.com. I'm going to spell that for you. It's www.hamptonsjujitsu.com. hamptonsjujitsu.com. And this academy is run by Professor Greg Molina. He happens to be an Isshin-ryu practitioner as well. But in this place where he has basically built a family of students, and the way the martial arts community works, especially in this arena of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there are a lot of people that participate in these types of events, whether it be with their children, whether they are the competitors or they're going to watch competitors. So the things that are going on out at the Hampton Jiu-Jitsu studio and academy, based on what I see on their website, they have a BJJ schedule. They have what's called a kickboxing schedule. Then they have some other areas of what they call the natural healing process of the body that they practice, because they do work very hard. So not only do they cater to your physical, spiritual, and mental aspect of practice, but they also assist you in the healing process, because, again, some of the work that they do is very strenuous. And you want to heal your body in a proper way so that you're ready to do your workout, whether it be the next day or the following day. So, again, we like to give shout outs to working martial artists. Now, this particular individual, Gregory, Professor Gregory, he is, even though we're not blood related, it's like we are blood related, because the family in which Gregory comes from, the Goldsmith and the Molina family, when we lived back in New York, we were very close to both families, whether it be the Molina family or the Goldsmith family. So we built a family bond over the years. Just again, not being blood related, but so close that the only thing that would separate us in that would be that we are not actually blood related. But knowing this journey from the day that it started, because we know Gregory from the day he's born, and watching him grow up now through all of these years, over 30 years now, to see what has been accomplished by this young man. I went to St. Joseph's College out on Long Island, got a degree, got involved in some businesses, and started to save his money to open up an academy. So he built this from the ground up. And The reason why we want to spend a few minutes talking about it is because tonight they're actually having at 7 o'clock a UFC night at Hampton Jiu Jitsu. And this is the type of stuff that they're doing. They're entertaining, different ways of working out. And I can't say enough about the program. Uh, at 7 o'clock tonight, there'll be um, it's I guess they call it like a fight night, if you will, and it's $5 for food, and you bring your own refreshment, and the main card is at 9 p.m. So again, Professor Gregory, you're doing such a great job, and on this program, Isshinryu today, we're all about the working martial artist. So congratulations, you're doing a great job now that you've moved into the bigger space. And let me give you that website one more time. That's www.hamptonsjujitsu.com. HamptonsJujitsu.com. That's the way the Brazilians spell jiu-jitsu. They spell it J-I-U. It's, pardon me, folks, I have a terrible cold. Weather's been very up and down here in North Carolina, and everybody's sick in the house, so they wound up getting me sick. But we're still having a great time, nevertheless. So, again, a big shout out to what's going on out there at the Hampton Jiu-Jitsu Academy under Professor Greg Molina, and that all of the other instructors that are involved out there. Also, a big shout out to you guys working with Gregory and putting on these different events so that people can get to see what this stuff is. I mean, if we don't show it, how will anybody ever know it? So, our next shout out goes out to our what we call our sponsor here on the program, the people that pay the bills, and that is Team Kia. So we want to give a big shout out to Team Kia for making this program possible. And check out their website, folks. It's www.teamkia.wixsite.com/TEAM-KIA. Go onto the website if you'd like to be a featured guest on this program. There's a message box on the website. You can fill out some information, give us a contact number so we can call you, get a marquee set up, and get you on the air. That's also a great way for you to let our audience know what you are working on, whether it be workshops, Kata workshops, empty hand technique workshops, submissions, takedowns, whatever you're doing. Let us know right on this number, 619-924-9759. We'll get you on the program, and you join our family here on Isshinryu today. So thank you, Team Kia, for allowing this program to happen. Our next shout out goes out to our founder, folks, Shimabuku Tatsuo Sensei, the Okinawan master who had a vision. That vision has been realized every day for 63 years now. And we're growing. We're growing strong, Sensei. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to build this from the ground up, what we call Isshin-ryu Karate, and the opportunity for us to practice it through the first generation students that brought the karate home to the United States. The Okinawan and United States cultures are now becoming more and more available to the youngsters, that the youngsters see the way the Okinawans do their dance and play their music and eat their foods through what we have now called the internet. So it's a great way for us to learn each other's culture. It is quite a distance for us to travel from the United States to Okinawa. Not everybody can do that. But with the tools that we have available to us today, we can actually do the part that you asked, that we learn each other's culture. We learn the Okinawan culture, and the Okinawans learn, the American culture. That has happened Sensei, there has been many representatives. In 2 weeks, we'll be talking about Uechi Sensei, who has worked also now to carry on the tradition of Isshin-ryu Karate, not only on the island of Okinawa, but around the world. Uechi Sensei traveled everywhere to promote your art, Sensei, and it's working. It's working. So thank you, Sensei. Thank you for everything that you did. Thank you for your life, your teachings, knowing that you instilled in those first generation students this curriculum and that they brought it back to these states and we're able to practice it. Well done, Sensei. So thank you. All right, folks. Tonight, our subject matter is going to be Tai Sabaki drills. My name is Danny Venner, and this is a subject that we spend many, many hours in the dojo and at home doing our bag work and exercising, moving that body management. Tai Sabaki drills is body management. Learning how to put your body in a position of advantage and your attacker in a position of disadvantage in that initial flinch response. This practice, and this is not just for one type of martial art. Every martial art that exists has to have body management incorporated in how they teach their students. For instance, the screamer. Sensei Rosenthal is teaching a screamer, and he explains to me how the sticks, just like empty hand, cover certain ground, and based on the length of the stick and the area that stick crosses when it's moving, is how you position your body to not be hit with the stick. So their Tai Sabaki drills are very intense because now not only have you added a weapon, but it's a pretty long weapon. It's a stick that extends out of your hand, and if you know how to use it, you can do everything with it, from takedowns to submissions to chokes. I mean, you can do everything with the stick. So again, they say that it's nothing more than an extension of your hand. However, in tonight's subject matter, Tai Sabaki drills, when you're dealing with empty hand drills, and then you introduce a weapon into those drills, well, now the weaponry makes the drills even more intricate because of the space. You see, distance and timing is everything in the fight. Let's face it, street fighters, they may not have any rhyme or reason when they attack you. They just attack. So they don't care what they do. They just do it. And to have an answer for that is not always easy. If you're not familiar with body management and Tai Sabaki drills, you may trip over your own feet and be your own worst enemy because you're so frightened and unfamiliar. Let's face it, when you do something for the first time and then you have repetition and you do it 10,000 times, by the time you've done it 10,000 times, you've learned certain things along the way as to, how different things happen based on what you're trying to do and how you adjust to that. And that is the essence of Tai Sabaki drills, because it teaches how your mind deciphers the math in that split second as to where to put everything. That practice, helps your brain move your body quickly, because it knows, your brain knows inherently how your body moves, so it's going to pick the things that you move the best at. Okay, it does that math. It's so amazing when you really think about this, because when you do it in repetitious form, when Sensei is calling out the cadence, and you've got to react differently every time. The Again, the practice of your brain figuring that out in a split second is great exercise for the brain. And that makes the drills even more interesting, because especially when you start to get worn down now a little bit. Now you're like 6, 7, 8, 9 sets into the Ippon Kumite, and you've been doing, let's say, 10 and 10 aside. You're starting to get tired now. Your arms are getting heavy. Your legs are not moving as quick. You're starting to get tired a little bit more. This teaches you something. Breathing is the essence of how long your gas tank can last. How you manage your breathing is going to be based upon how you're going to perform when you're tired. That's just how it works. That's just how your body. Let's face it. When you start your session, you're nice and fresh, and you can move nice and easy. After you've been hit a couple of hundred times over the course of these exercises, your arms get heavy, man. Your legs get heavy. All right, and it's not so easy to move. So now your brain has to do that math, and in there is a great lesson. It's a great lesson for the body. It's a great lesson for the mind. It's a great lesson for the spirit. Because, again, now you're tired, and the attacker is still somewhat fresh, because all they have to do is, do the attack. You have to do the finish. So if you don't manage properly, you'll be out of gas by the time you get to number 5 on the right side. Well, look, you don't just get this practice overnight, all right? This takes years and years and years of practice to build up the conditioning of your mind, your body, and your spirit to be able to last. We've had certain black belts on the program here that have told us, street fighters are dangerous fighters, because they have no rhyme or reason. They'll bite, scratch, pull. They don't care what it is. They're just going to beat you up. If you don't position your body in the proper format, they will overwhelm you. And when you're overwhelmed in a fight, you're doomed, because your spirit is broken. You're getting hit, you're getting hurt, and it's not a place you want to be in. Now, our sensei trained us in a way that, his biggest thing to us as students was don't get hit. So your Tai Sabaki drills are, very, very high on the priority list that you practice, and that you drill to a point where the unknown has to have an answer. Whatever that may be, has to have an answer. You have to figure it out in a split second. So those terms are very stringent terms. You don't have time to think. When the unknown happens, what you do, how you perform, the element of surprise, how you manage fear, all of these things come into play in a split second. Now, if you're not proficient at your drills, folks, listen, you've been listening to me on this program now 3 years. You know that in our practice, the one thing that we try so hard to do is to evade and protect. Evade the strike and protect your body. Most important. And let's face it, the first one gets through and knocks you out. Excuse me, you're done. Fight's over. And that's one punch. They hit you in the right spot, boom. You're done. It's the law of physics. Anybody can get knocked out if they get hit in the right spot. So, yes, different people have different tolerances. I get that. But even then, even the strongest people on the planet, you hit them in the right spot and you hit them with enough force, you can knock them out. It's just the law of physics. It's just the way it works. So our practice brought us to a point where when you attack, our priority is to go to the open. Our entry into the attack is to go to the open. What does that mean? Sensei used to tell us, when you transition stances, when you go to attack me, when you are committed to what you're trying to do, that's when you're vulnerable. Because you're probably extending too far. You're probably reaching a little bit to try to get your target. That target may be moving, so now you're adjusting. And in that split second is when Sensei would evade and protect and either throw a kick or a punch or a combination of both, or maybe sweep your feet out, take you down, choke you out, put you in a submission hold, something. He would do something based upon your commitment. So his body management, his Tai Sabaki, was very efficient. Well, first of all, he was tall and slender. He was able to move. If you've looked at some of the foot patterns that have been posted on social media when it comes to dachi stances, you'll see that from, let's say, a natural stance position, you're just standing up. You're not in any karate stance, boxing stance, wrestling stance, no stance. You're just standing up. And someone attacks you. The stance that your brain picks that you go into because you've practiced it is the most essential thing that you do upon that initial moment of attack. Now, real professional fighters know how to let you pass through the circle. They get to your back, capture your neck, choke you out. That's how that works. The ones that are really, really proficient at knowing how to, when you throw a punch or a kick or swing something at them, they know just how to slip that, let that go by them. And in the moment that it's going by them, they know just how to get to your back, capture your neck, and choke you out. Done. When you look at some of these YouTube videos that are up on the internet, and you watch some of the senseis explaining the bunkai of kata, and you watch the way they transition their stance when their attacker comes into their circle and how they manipulate the attacker's momentum and put that momentum where they need it to be so that they can execute their waza, their technique. Okay? Everything that you see in that split second when that punch comes out and the sensei takes up a position, if you notice, especially at the black belt level now, all the it's not a lot of distance. They don't create a lot of distance. It's very marginal. It's very slim, and somehow or another, they always seem to maintain control of what's coming at them. They don't let it go. That's what I'm trying to say. But they put it in an area where they need it to be, so that they can put their body where their body needs to be. So it's that math that your brain does. And unless you practice this now, it's very difficult to do without practice because, well, first of all, you haven't practiced. You know, practice, not to say practice, is the only thing that you need to do. You need to have, real life scenarios built for you in the dojo so that you can learn the variants of movement. Because movement is not, always precise every single time. They come from a different angle, a different speed, a different height. So there are variables. You have to learn to process that. But the only way, now again, the only way you really learn how to do that is to get into the dojo or get into an academy that will teach you things like this and practice it. Because I'm telling you, it builds up your core because you're constantly getting hit. It builds up your distance and timing and how you make a decision when attacked because you learn what works and what doesn't work. You may even walk into a couple. Who knows? I've walked into many because I put my body in. I thought you were going to do this, but you did that. Nobody's perfect. I mean, we're practicing. That's what this is. This is to find out when that happens and then what you do. Listen, I wish I could tell you in the fight it's going to go this way. It doesn't. First of all, you don't know what the other person's going to do, so how could you ever know? Can you be prepared? Yes. Can you have worked for many, many years to suppress that element of surprise feeling? Let's face it, everybody gets it, but it's how you deal with it. Do you freeze at that moment or can you continue? That's the question. No one ever knows the answer to that question until they face it. And then, even if you've had success 5 times in a row, you may fail the 6th time because you froze. You were so scared you froze. It happens, folks. That's why we practice. In Taisabaki drills, again, it's not just karate, but all forms of martial arts practice Taisabaki body management because it's essential to their success, right? Let's take a look at the definition. Uh, I pulled it up, and just a little blurb about it is that it says Taisabaki is a term from Japanese martial arts, and it relates to a whole body movement or repositioning. It can be translated as body management. It's a term widely used and very important in kendo, jujitsu, aikido, judo, karate, ninjutsu, many different forms of martial arts. Taisabaki is used to avoid an attack, such as a receiver of an attack that ends up in an advantageous position, and often wrongly referred to as, other terms, and that we like to call it evasion, evade and protect. You got to evade. When you are attacked, you have to evade. If you walk into the attack, you are going to get hit. So the whole premise of us trying to get to a point in that point of attack is body management, where we put our bodies. Is it about physical strength? Not really. It's really about how quickly you can move and how proficient you are in your dachi transition. And that is how you change stances is very important. We have a stance in our practice that's called Shinto, where one leg goes behind the other, and it now allows you to make a complete circle with very little foot movement. And it's because of the positioning of the body, the way you place your feet, you have the opportunity to turn and turn very quickly. So when attacked, if you know Prophet Shinto Dachi, you might be able to let that person pass right through the circle and use that stepping motion, almost like a compass, if you will, repositioning the body, getting the body out of harm's way, and putting the attacker in a position of disadvantage because now they've already committed to do what they're going to do. They've already started their execution of their attack. And again, what did Sensei McGrath tell us? You're vulnerable when you're attacking. So there's a reason why they say karate for defense only. Because if you are the attacker, right, and we use or we take up a defensive posture, because it puts us in a position of advantage, your attack has actually worked against you. So there's a philosophy now to think about. You're open when you attack. When you go to throw that big hook punch on the street, your ribs are open because now you've left that area with one of your most protective weapons, and that is your bent elbow. When someone goes to kick at you, especially in the ribs, you would rather them kick the arm than the ribs. So we use our arm as a protective device around the rib cage, rather get hit in the arm than have a broken rib. So therefore, the street fighter, when they throw that big hook punch, they got a wide stance. They're using all their weight to come into you and knock you out. Well, listen, in that instance, if you haven't practiced what we're talking about here on tonight's program, you might get hit in the cheekbone and get knocked out. You might get hit in the jaw and get knocked out. Worse yet, you might get hit in the temple and die. So, listen, this all happens, folks, in a split second. And like I said, on the street, they have no rhyme or reason. They may be throwing that big haymaker, but right after that big haymaker is coming like boom, 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 and they're going to try to, just keep punching you until you don't go no more. And then some, the way these people fight. So, you see, we're taught to, Sensei wanted us to be craftsmen. If you can grab an arm, if you can grab a leg, if you can grab the neck and submit them, you lower the amount of damage that you do to the body. Let's face it, we live in a country of laws. So there are laws as to how you can protect yourself. Yeah, they say rather be judged by 12 than carried out by 6. I get that. I'm an advocate for that. I'd rather stay than leave. But what is too much? And then when you're adrenalized like that, you have no clue unless you've trained, unless you know, unless you have the confidence to know, I have this person in this lock. They can't get out. That's enough. That's enough. I don't know. What is your philosophy on that? Call in 619-924-9759. This is something that we as instructors have to deal with because we teach Waza. Again, a choke is a choke. Is a choke is a choke. That's how that works. Whether it's a blood choke or an air choke, it is what it is. So, what do you do there? That's a great topic of discussion because out of good Tai Sabaki practice, uh, the next step is now submitting our attacker, allowing our waza now to prevail, bringing it now to where we can submit, whether it be some type of joint lock or whatever it may be. Okay, the knockout. Um, you have to. That's something that Again, in order for you to knock somebody out, do you really know how to do that? Have you ever done it before? You have to ask yourself that question. Have you ever dropped somebody like that? You hit them and boom, down they go. What the hell did I do? You hit them in the right spot. Just boom. Their legs come out from under them and down they go. Right? Have you ever swept somebody? Have you ever submitted somebody? Have you ever, been in a situation where you have applied a choke? Well, you have to ask yourself these questions. All right. In that, do you belong to a martial arts school? Because if you do, and it's a quality martial arts school, you'll be learning these things. You will be exposed to these different concepts and principles. And then based on how the sensei runs the class, you'll be applying these in real time. And that's how you learn. Our sensei let us, he didn't like to see us get carried away. All right. Because sometimes these things can get a little heated. All right. Um, Again, it's great practice. It's a great way for you to learn discipline, repetition, that critical Tai Sabaki body management, how to breathe properly, how to react properly, how to evade and protect properly. All concepts and principles that relate to these issues have a direct correlation to what you do when you are attacked. And when you are attacked, what you do with your body is the most important thing because, let's face it, if you throw a punch in my face and now I position myself in a way that that punch doesn't hit me, but now you're so committed that your ribs are wide open. I drop down under that punch. I step in and I hit you with a bent elbow right in those ribs, or maybe a succession of bent elbows, boom, 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 boom. I may crack a couple of ribs along the way, which your next breath is not going to be so easy. Which we do know how to use our elbows. We have a kata that we practice that is an Isshinryu kata, actually. It's called Sun Tzu. And in that kata, it teaches us how to execute proper elbow strikes, with a bent elbow. Let's face it, folks, a bent knee and a bent elbow are two very, very heavy strikes. You have to be a really, really strong human being to withstand those types of strikes, especially if I deliver them to your rib cage. And this is how you drop people. You hit them so hard in the rib cage that down they go, man. You just take their breath, you're gone. So again, what type of craftsman are you? Unless you've experienced these things and you know that when you hit somebody like that, that's what happens. In a fight, what do you choose? What does your brain, let out at that split second? What comes out of you? Where do you position yourself? What waza do you use? Again, like I said before at the top of the program, your body, your brain knows what you do best. So of course, whatever comes out is going to be what you do best. You can guarantee that. You might not know it at that split second, but because you practice it so much, it will just come out of you. It will just be what your body does. It's how it figured it out. Again, that unknown, that element of surprise, here it is, and that's how you react. And it's because, this was a great practice too. Let's say you were doing your Ippon Kumite drills, or you were doing empty hand kata, or you were doing Kobudo kata, or whatever you were doing. Sensei would step in your space and look to see how you react. Like, you like look at Sensei, like, what are you doing here? Or you move out of the way, or what do you do? You just walk up and step in your space. You'd be in the middle of doing say some kata, let's say. You just come up and step in your space. Well, what do? Do you freeze? Do you not know what to do? Or can you make a decision at that moment and continue? That's what Sensei wanted to know. Like he would tell us, I can't promise you that in a fight this is going to happen like this. We may practice it like that here, and you may see it like that out there, but it's not the same. You're not in the same mindset. Don't tell me you're not frightened. It's how you use the fear. Sensei would say it to us like this. Fighting guys like Ralph Bohm Sensei, Rick Namira Sensei, Don Bohan Sensei, Don Nagel Sensei. Fighting guys like that, he said, was the most amazing thing anybody could ever see or participate in. So having to work with those, with that level of expertise of how they operated their Taisabaki and their body management was like a cut above the rest. So being exposed to that, he used to tell us, being exposed to that, watching how they did it, is what I'm trying to teach you guys, because look at what they did with it. Just look at what they did with it. When you would attack a Don Nagel Sensei or a Rick Namira Sensei or Bohan Sensei, you'd be hard pressed to attack a guy like that. I mean, are you crazy? You're going to attack that guy? Oh boy. And this is what Sensei McGrath told us about these guys. They were so good that it brought out the best in his body mechanic, because, again, if they hit you, I mean, he's got interviews on the YouTube that he explains that if you got hit by one of these guys, I mean, you got hurt. Because they weren't looking to pull their punches. They were looking to knock you out. All right? Even though you were dojo mates back then, there was something about the Marine Corps and so on and so forth that they were just tough guys, man. And they wanted to knock you out. They wanted to put you out. Fight's over, right? With that, you learn to adjust very quickly to that type of environment, because if you don't, we all know the results of that. Every class that you go to, you'll get knocked out. And after a while, you won't be able to go to class no more, because you'll be like knocked out forever. You won't be able to remember your name, So it was an amazing thing that happened to Sensei McGrath. He used to tell us all the time, that practice is what made him what he became as an instructor. Because he learned that what they did with their feet and how they moved their body and gave up very, very little real estate, even if any, okay? He said that was so important to him. Those drills, and that's why he used to come up with ways for us to drill safely, of course, because everybody's got to go to work tomorrow, but really pressing you, really, trying to attack you in ways that, first of all, try to surprise you. While you're working, he'll send somebody over and attack you. Want to see how you respond to that. While you're working with, one-on-one, he'll send two over. Let me see how you now deal with three people. And he always pushing the envelope is what I'm trying to say. Again, I can't build every scenario for you in a fight. That's impossible. But can I prepare you a little bit? Yes. Yes, I can throw things at you that, you know, again, not knowing the unknown on the street, you know, because that's such a big variable, we cannot build scenarios for everything. What ifs? We would just try, we'd work in sand, we'd work in mud. Mud is terrible. Mud is slippery, man. It's like ice. You know what I mean? You're trying to get a footing on mud, and it's terrible. All right, it's terrible. Working in water, the water's heavy. You try to move your legs, try to get out of the way. Different ball game. So again, what was he trying to do? What was his objective there? He's trying to teach our brain things to prepare for unknown, unknown things that you know. Would you ever think of being attacked in water? He went under. Get him. Now, it's not to hold you down. And of course, there's people there to make sure that if you do take on a little bit of water, you come right up and they'll help you. Yeah, you'll cough your brains out trying to get the water out. But it's happened to me. That's why I remember going down to the Great South Bay and even down to Fire Island with the class and going in the water and Sensei would say, get him, get him. And now, you got the water and it was just an amazing practice. Um, Things again to prepare you for the unknown. Working in sand is difficult, man. Whether you got shoes on or you don't have shoes on, and he make us do both, with our shoes on, with our shoes off. Obviously, with your shoes off, you have a little bit more control. But with your shoes on, you're in sand. Oh, difficult, all right? Difficult. Taisabaki drills now become difficult because it's heavy. You have to deal with weight. It's different, okay? So again, how creative can you become when it comes to developing drills that can, sort of help you prepare for the unknown? Well, again, folks, call into the program 619-924-9759. We're having a great discussion tonight about Taisabaki drills and what that means to a fighter. How proficient are you at drilling? Boxers may call it shadow boxing, that they, when they move around, they move their feet and they punch it out and they keep their head, they bob and weave, and they do what they do in boxing. Well, it's the same in wrestling. In wrestling, they have different, positions that you put your feet in your body to restrict the other wrestler to try to come over the top or trying to go under or trying to go around. You know, footwork, footwork. Everything in a fight is about footwork. If you have proper footwork, your body management will follow because you've practiced it. You've experienced what to do with your body when attacked. That's the whole gift here. And yes, we call it a gift because it can save your life. Practicing good Tai Sabaki concepts and principles can save your life because, look, I don't know how many times you guys that listen have fallen down. But in a typical martial arts class in our dojo, you're up and down a couple of hundred times off the floor. Well, let me tell you something. Just getting up and down, getting knocked down and having to get up is an effort. And it's an effort that most people do incorrectly. From when you were a kid, when you fell down, you know, probably went down to your knees, your hands, your palms hit the floor, and you scraped up your palms and your knees, but now you're in pain, you're bleeding, and that can happen. I understand that. And most people, when they fall down, put their palms out and palms to the ground. Look, folks, come to the dojo. Let any one of the instructors show you how and train you how to be in relationship with the ground, because it's not the right move. When you trip and you go to fall, and you put those hands out open and those palms hit the ground, it's the wrong position. The wrong position for you to be in relationship with the ground. You have to learn how to go to the ground softly, without a concussion, without an immediate stop. Because let's face it, if you're falling to the ground at gravity speed, by the time you hit the ground, you're moving pretty quick. You're moving pretty quick. So you have to learn that relationship. You have to learn that timing. The only way you learn that is by getting knocked down, and how you get up is important. If you get knocked down, and in the knockdown you roll out and stand up, well, now what really happened? You just moved to another piece of real estate. Whereas if you fall down and you fall down on the ground and you wind up with either your belly on the ground, your side on the ground, or your back on the ground, you're in, well, I should say you're in the wrong position unless you want to be there. Unless you want your attacker down there. I don't know. But in a normal fall, when you trip, you sort of don't want to wind up like that. You want to evade and protect that trip. What does that mean? Again, you have to come to the dojo so we can show you how to roll out. We can show you how to make that, minimize the impact to the ground. Whereas you don't actually hit the ground, you just use the ground as a post, and you sort of move out, roll out, evade and protect. Don't allow the ground to hurt you because the ground's solid. In our dojo here, we work out on concrete. I work out in my driveway here. So, we have to be ultimately careful, because even if we trip and fall down, we're going to get cut up. The concrete's going to make us bleed. It's just the way it works. You hit concrete and you scrape and you cut your skin and you bleed. It's just the way it works. So you have to be careful. You have to do your drills in a way that, yes, we do have some mats that we can spread out when we are doing up down, drills that we finish you down on the ground, so that we minimize use your knees. So for sure your knees are going to get cut up just by getting up and down a couple hundred times. So to minimize that, we do have some mats that, very thin mats though. We don't have, like the professional mat that they have in the dojos. But they work, they work. They minimize the impact and the coarseness of the concrete. Well, look, folks, I see we're coming up to halftime. So, like I said, I do apologize. I do have a cold, so my sniffles are ready. I have to blow my nose. But we're going to play a couple of songs, and we'll be right back. I'm going to play this song by Frankie Valli. It was recorded in 1951, I think. It's called My Mother's Eyes, and it's one of my favorite songs. And since we're talking about one of my favorite topics, we might as well play this song. So stay tuned. Call into our program, 619-924-9759. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.